Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways. And we've got a huge show today. Lots of things to discuss. There's lots going on in the racing industry, and we're going to be chatting about emails. But most importantly, back off the sick bed, and hopefully your colour looks a bit better.
Yeah, I'm back, James. I've realised I've got to get back in the limelight with you because Justin Snaith's got married, so you and I are back in the play. He's off the market.
Well, the problem is that I think that he's going to have a lot of problems, that youngster.
Why?
There's no doubt. There's a lot of skeletons in that cupboard that are going to come back and haunt him. You know that they say the ghosts of the past come back to you.
Oh, it's haunted all of us, James.
Yeah.
Look at the position you and I in. But good luck to Justin. Well done. He's got himself married and
we wish him well.
We wish him well. The champion trainer of the country's got married. He scored more than Kaiser Chiefs when he was young.
There's no doubt. There's Kaiser Chiefs who were backroom boys compared to Justin. But
Is Jono married?
Jono, I don't think Jono's going to hold the fort for as long as possible. But, it's a whole different ball game as far as this is concerned. Justin, you should have come and spoken to us. We would have given you a few tips. But anyway, good luck to you and your bride on a very happy and loving future with lots of kids.
Lots of kids to run the stable in time to follow.
Yeah. Who can hopefully be better polo players than you are.
With the Snakes, the old men could ride.
He was a great rider, Chris.
Yeah.
No, he was.
He used to
and
ride
what do you think his mother?
Chris's mother.
Sue's
or his
mother.
wife.
No, Chris's wife. Justin's mother.
Good rider.
Whew, she's a champion.
They used to ride with Walter.
Snake was the older Snake. He was a very good hurdle race jockey. Very good jockey he was.
Did he fall ever?
His mother. No, he was too good. His mother was a very good horsewoman. Okay, and that's sort of matriarch and patriarch of
Did
the
you ever
Snake.
play polo against those boys?
No, Chris wasn't gutsy enough to play polo. He didn't have the
What
courage.
about Walter? He was an old rider.
No, Walter couldn't play polo either. Terence Millard was a polo player.
Yeah.
And Terence was a very good polo player. As a kid, I came up against him, and him and the Rickson boys. Ralph and Roy Rickson were wild as bloody barrel full of snakes. I can tell you, they were completely.
So the Cape boys have got old horsemen, eh?
I know. There were some fantastic horsemen there. There was a guy there that I'll never forget, Bobby Salkender. He was a clown from the. He did the circuses and all that, and he could ride anything, anywhere, anyhow. And he rode on the polo ground once, facing backwards. The horse was going nowhere. Bobby Salkender. He was brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. That was at the Cape Hunt, and the Cape Hunt, thank goodness, is still going today. Although I think they're mainly playing.
A lot of guys from the Cape Hunt, Jim, came through to be trainers.
Yeah.
It was the norm, eh?
Well, what happened was they had all that Cape Hunt and Polo Club racing. They had all those amateur races. I remember the first race I ever rode in. I rode against a guy called Tommy Lofty's father. And
who the lesser spotted Loftus?
Yeah, the lesser spotted Johan's father. Tommy Loftus was a great rider and schooled a lot of polo ponies for my father. And I was a kid, I think 14 years old, and I was on a horse that won something called a Table Bay Handicap. So it was quite a good bloody horse. But by the time they dropped the flag and I looked up, Lofty was about 10 lengths in front of me and I got beaten. I ran second on this horse. I thought I was a pretty hot shot, but I got beaten.
Yeah.
You should have seen the report I got when I walked into the second box. Hey, Lonnie, you must go back to Joburg, man. You have no idea.
So nothing's changed.
It was a hot favourite. They had a full go at me. There'd been some very funny stories.
And when you were up in Joburg, I know we're digressing slightly. When you rode, were there races to ride in Joburg?
Yeah, we had race meetings at Kyalami.
That
was where the great coup was pulled with Crepe Suzette. George Belita took a filly from Turfentine to Kyalami. Yeah. And raced it under a different name. Its name was Crepe Suzette. It was like a 5-time winner. And it ended up winning, and one of the Stipes followed it home. I think Taylor was the name. Followed this horse back to Turfentine. Because it won, and he thought he recognized the horse was a chestnut with a couple of white stars and white star and white socks, and that's how they got lumbered. Otherwise, they would have got away with it. You know?
All right, let's go on to 3 to follow, James. We've got some interesting horses.
Yeah, let's go and have a look. Well, here we go with 3 to 4. Let's go to the first one. We go to Turfentine on Saturday. This is the 6th, and we go to race 1. Mike de Kock, as always, steps out some very nice horses. This Trippy was no exception. Let's go and pick him up at the start.
Yeah, there was talk that this horse could run a bit. It runs in just slightly in the air as it comes out the gate, but gets hustled into position by Francois Herald, not too far adrift. And it looked an interesting race. Your eventual winner, Fleetwood Mac, was with Ryan Munger, who's going through a purple patch. Well done to Ryan. Gets it up there, and they did run a good race, Ryan Munger's winner. So Trip to Rio had a bit to do. I thought the ride of, Stratum's ride had a chance as well, James. That's sitting up second there, but it compounds up the stretch. But the horse we're following is Trip to Rio. It's in the blue, in the Sheikh Hamdan colours, probably about 6th or so on the fence.
Yeah, I thought this was a cracking good ride from Ryan Munger. He always was a nice kid in Durban, Ryan Munger, and I think he rode his first winner for Dennis Pryor. But this horse is under pressure and looks like it's going nowhere. Here he's about 6th position now. On the inside, goes tail up in the air. Doesn't look like he's enjoying it. But Francie Herald's just trying to coax him along. But right at the death here, Munger's pinched the brake going through the 200 and got the stick in the right, going along. This horse now really takes
it eats
off.
up the ground. You've got to be with this horse next time. The penny dropped late, got beaten just over a head. King and Empire in a good race, close up third. But keep an eye on that horse. That's the first one we found for you. It's called Trip to Rio.
Well, no one can say there is an off-season in Durban, because let me tell you, these guys are stepping out horses like rockets. And we go to 2 smaller stables now. Well, Com Naidu is not a small stable, but certainly Jeff Friedman is. The 4th race at Scottsville yesterday. And Com Naidu stepped out. This was a Silvano bought for $350,000 on the ready-to-run sale, and beautifully bred out of a Naba mare.
Anabar.
Prince, yeah, Anabar.
You know, Anabar is the broodmare sire of Treve, who won the, obviously the Arc de Triomphe,
and is going back for the Arc de
and
Triomphe.
Harry's son.
Yeah.
Harry's son, who won the premiers, he's also out of an Anabar mare. So a very good broodmare sire, Anabar. And this horse here, as James said, 350, very green. Have a look at this horse called Festive Prince.
There he is, trap 3, stall gate 3, falls out the pens. Anton Marcus gives him a tap down the neck. And he's always really under pressure here. He's just trying to let him catch up a little bit with, behind horses, follow them into the race. But
I'd spoken to Arthur Marcus about this horse, and he said to me, he's a very nice horse. He thought he didn't think he'd win. He said, everyone's talking about this horse being a certainty. He said he's dumb, he's backward, but he's a real nice horse. And this horse is going to improve lengths. And that's exactly what happened, because Theseus and the White Face, giving the Johnsons a wonderful double on the day. The Johnsons had 2 winners for their first time, I think, for Mr. Johnson since he's been owning horses. He's had 2 on the day. But here, Arthur's hard at this horse, James.
yeah, he's behind the winner at this stage. Oh, that's not good.
Did you order ice creams?
No, I didn't order ice creams,
Okay,
but he's
sorry.
behind the winner at this stage. And
Yeah, he's drifting around again. You can see he drifts, and now Arthur changes his stick. He goes in. Arthur has to go back to the stick in the right hand. He's about 6th here, and he does run 3rd. The winner, Theseus, has won a good race, and the runner-up, Bulletin Home, runs a very good race for Mike Rattray. But here this horse is starting to learn how to run. And I think the way Arthur Marcus told me it would run was absolutely true. And as you can see there, the ice creams have arrived. I'm having the cornetto, and he's having the double wafer because it takes a creamy wafer. And
can we move on?
Can we
Have a
on?
look.
Okay, the third one.
I'm
Let's
trying
go
to
the
get
third
this
one.
bloody volume down on this phone.
The volume
but it's-
switch is on the left.
There it is.
There
Gone.
we go. We've got our ice creams, Joe.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. Jeez,
Okay,
man,
let's move
it's
on to the
rather
third one.
embarrassing this on live TV to end up having phone
But
calls.
James, tell him it's a one take.
But the point is just on that last horse, that looks like a ready-to-run candidate. I think they're going to have to rush him.
That's
but
what they're
he's
trying
a
to do, I think.
Very, very nice
He'll
horse
come on a
indeed.
long way,
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, let's go on to the third one. Also sticking with Arthur Marcus, and as James alluded to, this is from the stable of Jeff Freeman, and he had openly told the public he thought he'd run a big race. It's drawn 1, and he's a very nice horse. He comes out, you lose him for a moment or 2 on the screen, but he's on the inside. There he is, clear as anything. This is Riff Raff, and He's a very nice horse who goes to the lead.
Well, he's got the striped colours on, but what's important about this horse, he's very like his...
Darnie's colours.
Yeah, he's very, very like his father. Royal Air Force was a huge horse that I think Jeff Woodruff trained.
Yes, he led the July field here.
Terry Andrews, I think, has him down there at Sorrento. I think they bred this horse, and he has 100,000 rand a Suncoast horse. So he came off the Suncoast sale, and he's a really nice horse, big, strong galloper. But the horse that beat him was hot favourite last time and fluffed his lines. Everyone forgot about it.
Yes.
But he is a really nice horse, Casciano. We had him in 3 to follow after his first run, and you got 4 to 1 about him if you followed him here.
The Friedman horse, as I say, Pops from Donny and Sean Phillips, they own this horse. This skips nicely, and Anthony hasn't panicked and shake Hamdan's colours. He's coming up the outside. Well, this is a debut run by the runner-up, Riff Raff, and it's a very good run.
Fantastic run, because Casciano takes a long time to get at him. He really battles to get there. The horse that ran fourth, I think, ran quite a good race, Hands of Stone. I think he's certainly worth having a look at in the future. This might turn out to be quite good form, this race, but the second horse, Riff Raff, the Royal Air Force, next time he runs 1,400 metres, well worth having a look at him. So those are the 3 to follow, and they're some quite nice horses there.
Very nice horses. As you say, this time of the year, a lot of people have sat back on their horses. We've had fields, we've had a situation where we've trained surfaces, and some people are starting to step out nice horses.
Well, what is interesting is normally this time of the year you don't find these type of horses stepping up. But here's some real classic type of horses. Back into the 2-year-old, early 3-year-old season, big strong horses coming out. And it's interesting that when you got one that can run, Anton Marcus knows about it. He's there.
He's there. Yeah. So, well, 2 of those that we showed you in the 3 to follows were having their debuts, and they're both ridden by Arthur Marcus.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with the next segment.
And here we are on Saturday, the 6th of July, 1974, a grand opening with the girls from the Minstrel Follies. These 2 girls were loaded with culture, mostly physical culture. She likes to be seen in all the right places. Not many women could fill her shoes. And here's crochet work for you. We asked her how she did it, but she's not exposing her secrets to anyone. The 3 Musketeers, one for all and all for the front page. If you've wondered what happened to the old shaggy dog stories, well, she's made them into a coat. A Zulu motif with a beaded message which says, I am free and available if you have an Aston Martin and a diamond mine, and this handsome pioneer has both. There was a touch of the Moulin Rouge about these 4 Minstrel Follies girls, and a flash of style from the Follies producers, Joan Brickhill and Louis Burke. Not to mention the show's top comedian and ace fan dancer. To crown the day came Durban's lovely carnival queen with her little page boy, Jerry Lee. A glorious queen, not just for a day, but for a whole season. A sunburst of yellow, and again a creation in popular yellow, Miss Pat Gill, principal dancer of the Follies, on the left. A Durban turban in bright white, brimming with trimmings. And a contrasting study in black. A matching his and her set. A hot dog tartan on a mustard field. We're not sure whether this is an archery target or Mrs. Dracula about to take off from Louis Bota. Who says there's a beef shortage? This is the furthest south a Frelimo ever got. Hello, he's seen something. What you trying to shoot? Well, this bird must be a pigeon. She's so well ringed. Early in the afternoon, Jamaican music had been a clear favorite, but at this stage of the canter down, elevation had gone to the top of the boards at 3 to 1. Then came Jamaican music at 3.5 to 1. A lot of money had made King's Palace third favorite at 7 to 1, with Sabre at 8s, Then came Yataghan, Safeguard, Sword Dancer and Bright Future of 10s. Bond Vista and Chief Scout rated 12s and Castaway was 14s. At the 20-1 were Riberville and Aegean, Wavecrest was 25s, Sea Patrol and Big Shot at 33s, and Trejo and Coastal Command came at the end of the betting line at 50-1. The weather was exceptionally fine, little or no wind, and the going was good. The enlarged car park was crammed, and whilst tanks were half empty with the petrol shortage, the drivers were well topped up on champagne. From an excellent start, Sabre was first to show on the outside, Bond Vista was prominent, and eventually Sea Patrol took over the running. But the sensation of the race was about to happen. Keep your eye on the grey Jamaican Music in the center of the picture. Passing the 2,000-meter mark, he stumbles, and jockey Ratley is unseated. Luckily, Jamaican Music did not go down to cause what would have been a terrible pile-up. Up front, Sea Patrol is showing the way. Going behind the drill hole, Sea Patrol was galloping freely, some 2 lengths ahead of Sabre, Riberville, Wavecrest, Aegean, Bond Vista, Big Shot, Yataghan and Bright Future. Elevation, Sword Dancer, Trejo, Coastal Command and Safeguard were well back, and the actual back markers were King's Palace, Castaway, and the riderless Jamaican Music with Chief Scout bringing up the rear. Coming down the hill towards the halfway mark, Sea Patrol continued to show the way from Riberville, Sabre, Aegean, Wavecrest and Bond Vista. Trejo, who's been traveling in the last half dozen, made a forward move round about this spot between the bends and actually pulled up to third at one stage, but the effort was not sustained. At this stage, Yataghan and Elevation were traveling well back. Coming up the hill to the 800-meter mark, Sea Patrol still had a 2-length lead on Riberville and the luckless Jamaican Music, enjoying the weightless gallop. He'd pulled himself up to third place. Then came Trejo, Aegean, Sabre, Wavecrest, Bond Vista, Elevation and Yataghan running together, followed by Big Shot, Sword Dancer, King's Palace, Bright Future, Castaway, Safeguard, Coastal Command, and Chief Scout last. Sometimes Coastal Command got to last. Sea Patrol brings them around in front of Riberville and Aegean, then the loose Jamaican Music. Here's a slow motion record of positions on the final bend. Sea Patrol, Riberville, Jamaican Music, then 4th to 7th, Trejo, Aegean, Sabre and Wavecrest, 8th, Yataghan on the rails, Bond Vista 9th, Elevation 10th, then Big Shot, King's Palace, Sword Dancer, Bright Future, Castaway, Safeguard, Chief Scout and Coastal Command. Coming for home, Sea Patrol had nothing more to give, but Riberville had, and he started to overhaul him. Jamaican Music, as if steered by an invisible jockey, threaded his way between other runners and put in a finishing run that took him to the front. With Jamaican Music leading the way like a loose horse in the Grand National, Riberville drew away from the only competitors that counted and ran on strongly to win by 4.5 lengths from Sea Patrol, Yataghan and Elevation, both of whom were giving their all without being able to overcome their top weights. Yes, he knew it all the time. Then came the lead-in, a most exciting day. It was the greatest day ever in the racing lives of Peggy and Dennis Mosenthal, who for 22 years have doggedly tried to annex a July. Ever since 1952, when their gallant Radlington notched 2 seconds and a third in successive years. With great sportsmanship, they later smiled away their bad luck with placed horses like Home Truth, Peddler, and Elevation last year. Everyone who knows anything at all about the vagaries and the hazards of top-class racing will rise to wish this sporting pair the congratulations they richly deserve. And, of course, to trainer Azzy and jockey Skummer. The Rothmans' July is the blue riband of the South African turf, and in 1974, Riberville wears it so proudly. And in this concluding stage of the sensational and exciting film record, you'll want to see the close-up of exactly what made Tom Ratley part company from Jamaican Music, and here it is.
Well, we apologize for the poor quality of that 50 years ago. That was July. And Martin Skumman, I remember beforehand, he said that he rolled a billiard ball or a bowl down the track to see the bias. Okay, and they had a picture of him on the paper on the Friday morning on his hands and knees.
Well, he got it right.
Watching to see, because he had worked out where the best place to go was. Tommy Ratley decided that the best place to go was on the ground.
Or at the beach.
Yeah. Well, that's why he was thinking about what happened on
But
the beach.
that was part of the Yazzie dynasty.
Yeah.
Now, who was that? They were trainer, that was George.
George. Michael's grandfather trained that horse, and he was the outsider. In fact, Elevation, I think, yet again were the two favourites.
Yeah.
And but Elevation never won in Durban. I don't think he ever won a race.
You know,
in
I
Durban.
remember I've got Yet Again's colours. They're my silks. You know, they're shimmels.
Yeah.
And I followed Yet Again's career, and I think I stand to be corrected, but they met 10 times Yet Again in Elevation, and it was 7-3 in favour of Yet Again. But Yet Again never beat Elevation on the half field.
No, he won 3 Summer Cups in a row.
Yeah.
Yet again. Elevation he was so
Great
much
horse.
a better horse up there.
Beautiful
it's amazing.
horse,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He won a big sprint before he won
Correct.
the summer
He was just a great racehorse.
Absolutely fantastic.
Half-felt. I was telling you, half-felt at a distiller. I think, And Yet Again was Marcel at a Sunless. I can remember those. Don't tell me one the Indingwe Maiden played from a week ago.
Yeah, well, we understand what it gets like when you, only eat vegetables and, have a bit of curry gravy on them. A lot of things.
You think the curry gravy made me sick? It's the only thing I can blame.
I think it's the curry gravy. Don't mix the vegetables with the curry gravy. Don't
mix anything with curry gravy. Curry gravy is good for you, James. I'm an Natal boy. I love my curries.
Okay, let's move on and go and have a look at the big news, which is the plum of the week.
As they straighten for the run to the line, 3:50 to go. Sussex Song, but ready to go right now. Still under a tight hold. Quickly moves in and joined issue along the inside. Ace Antonius up the middle. Next we got Half Moon Hotel. We're into the final 150 and ready to go right now. Gets given his head. He's more than a length in front of Sussex Song in the run to the wire. Ready to go right now, wins it from Sussex Song. Then we had Ace Antonius, and behind that Half Moon Hotel.
Well, if ever there was a plum of the week that was odds against, it had to be this horse. He ran off a merit rating of 105 against a whole lot of horses that were way below him in the merit rating. And at the weights, he looked like an absolute blinder.
Coming fourth behind Futuria last time out. You're absolutely right, James. And I think the boys got a nice touch on it, the ones who got the right price.
Well, certainly, he opened up 15 to 10. You could have got 18 to 10 on Interbet. And he ended up even money, basically 9 to 10, 9.5 to 10. You could have got 13 or 14 to 10 on Interbet if you were there. And as usual, Interbet is a source of the best odds. That's who you should join up with. Let's move on and go and have a look in current affairs.
Do you want to get the best odds on horse racing and sporting events? For every bet requested, we review all the bookmakers and select the one with the best odds. As a result, you always get the best odds. Interbet offers tote betting, fixed odd multiples, and betting with your mobile phone. To get started, all you need to do is register by filling in your personal information. Log into your account and start wagering.
Right, welcome to another edition of Current Affairs, where we've got one race to show you, and there were no stakes races around the country, but we're bringing you Mauritius's biggest race, the Phoenix Maiden Cup. They buy a lot of our horses, and we get to see them race over there. And again, you'll see in the field there were some decent horses that raced in this part of the world.
Yeah, and nice of Serge Henry to win the race after their death in the family during the week, which was very sad for them. But interesting, when you look at this race, you'll have to speak good French because the commentary's in French, and we're not going to try and go over it. But
it's like a bit of a pigeon North Coast accent. Just this commentary.
Is that so?
Yes.
From the French Mauritians up the North Coast.
The French Mauritians.
Let's go and have a look at the Maiden Cup, the biggest race in the island, on Mauritius Island.
Et les chevaux viennent de s'élancer pour la 7e course, la FedEx Maiden Cup, 2400 mètres à parcourir. Départ lent pour Moses Giovanni à l'avant. Vettel est parti sans trop de difficultés, taquiné un peu maintenant par Man to Man qui va se placer en 2e position. Voilà Vettel qui a l'avantage sur Man to Man qui se place assez facilement dans son sillage. Love Struck, et puis on retrouve Bulsara en 4e position. À son extérieur, Intercontinental, suivi de Tales of Bravery. Pierre Nif, Rudy Rocks. À l'arrière, il y a Storm Dancer et Moses Giovanni qui se recollent au peloton. Donc c'est Vettel avec Cédric Cégéon qui a l'avantage devant Man to Man, Raidrowan qui a réussi très tôt à trouver les barres. Intercontinental court à l'extérieur de Love Struck. Bulsara est en 5e position, puis ça mène Tales of Bravery. Pierre Nif est en dehors de Tales of Bravery, et puis à l'arrière Rudy Rocks. En dehors de Storm Dancer, Moses Giovanni, le gris toujours en queue du peloton. Au passage du but pour la première fois, la foule qui donne de la voix pour Vettel qui est le meneur ici sous la montre de Cédric Cégéon. Man to Man qui va le suivre en 2e position. Intercontinental n'est pas mal en dehors de Love Struck. Bulsara sur les barres avec Pierre Nif qui l'accompagne en dehors. Tales of Bravery à l'arrière en 7e position, et puis Rudy Rocks qui va attendre patiemment la ligne droite finale. Storm Dancer, Moses Giovanni toujours dernier, 900 mètres à parcourir dans la Maiden Cup 2014 avec Vettel qui n'est pas inquiété, pourrait se montrer dangereux sous la montre de ses géants. Man to Man reste aux aguets en 2e position cependant et va essayer de le rattraper tout à l'heure. Intercontinental, Bulsara toujours 5e. Pierre Nif commence son effort. Rudy Rocks passe à l'extérieur de Tales of Bravery. À l'arrière il y a Storm Dancer et toujours dernier Moses Giovanni. À la rue du gouvernement, 400 mètres à parcourir. Vettel va essayer de s'échapper. Man to Man qui est toujours là cependant avec Intercontinental. Pierre Nif, Bulsara commence son effort à l'arrière. Rudy Rocks est lancé. Les chevaux entament le dernier virage avec Vettel menacé par Man to Man à l'extérieur. Intercontinental va faire l'effort tout comme Bulsara. Vettel avec Man to Man. Bulsara lancé par Daryl Holland à l'extérieur. Man to Man qui a l'avantage cependant avec Daryl Holland qui tente le tout pour le toucheur Bulsara. Et Man to Man avec Raidrowan. Man to Man qui l'emporte. Man to Man remporte le Médan.
James, who won that?
Man to Man.
Very good. Well done to the Henry family and everyone involved. A very good race. Love Struck going 4th from the 2-4. Very good run, and of course we obviously know Bulsara being a good horse.
Well, when you looked at this field, Intercontinental, I think that was with the Cocktails of Bravery, Vaughan Marshall. Bulsara was with the Fanzales.
Yeah, Vettel and Mark.
Vettel was with Mike. Love Struck was with
Rudy
Rocks.
Charlie.
Pierre Nif. Mozart Giovanni was the grey horse at the back that was left a long way, and Storm Dancer. I think that was Mike Miller, wasn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was. You're right. I think it was.
Anyway, it's a very competitive South African full field, and always good fun. The Maiden Cup, and you can see how many people were out there having a go. But lots of international news.
Yeah, let's get rolling with the South African connection first. In Singapore, a horse called Flax. 8-year-old by Silvano, very lightly raced, 161 days horse. He previously won a Group 1 for them, came back after that break and won the Group 3. The race it won was the Jumbo Jet Trophy. So Silvano still flying the flag. That's in Singapore.
Yeah, fantastic to see. Go to America. Keeneland sales starts today. 13 days of sales, and book
James,
one.
Massive. I've been to these sales.
It's amazing, isn't
amazing.
it? It's just horse after horse after horse.
I stayed at the Campbell House. I remember it, and I went out and had a look.
Do you know how many horses they've got on the sale this year? 4,181 horses. And last year they averaged $102,000 over the 4,000.
Have they still got the special days?
Yeah, well, they work from
book
the
one.
best horses, book 1, down to book 5 or whatever the worst horses. But there are 4 book 1 sections.
Yeah.
And it's
would
big.
Would there be any South African interest there that you know of?
I'm not sure. I really haven't heard of anyone going there. I do know that Jahan Malherbe is in Hong Kong putting together the Mike de Kock Syndicate. where they want to buy international horses. And it was very interesting chatting to him this morning. We'll chat about that later. But let's go into, in Germany, they ran the Grosser Preis von Baden, which is a big group one at Baden-Baden.
Interesting, James. The unbeaten horse was the German Derby winner, which was See the Moon. He's about See the Stars. And he got thumped. He got beaten, and they said they're not disappointed. They're still going for the Arc. He was 4-1 to win the Arc. He's now gone 10-1 with Treve, last year's winner, at 5-1 favourite. But the horse who beat him, James, seems a fair off. How do you pronounce it? Ivanhoe or something?
Ivanhoe.
Ivanhoe.
Yeah,
he looks useful.
It's a German pronunciation for George Rolls' stud.
Okay, so
Ivanhoe.
Ivanhoe. Okay.
Yeah.
He was by Soldier Hollow. I don't know the stallion, but that won the Group 1. So just while we just deflect slightly off onto the Arc, Treves only had one run back, and it wasn't the greatest run, but they say the conditions will be right up Treves' alley. But there's the Australias and
well, interesting Australia. There's no word on Australia going for the Arc, and when I was digging last week to find out, certainly a couple of clever guys on ABC were saying that there's no way that he's going for the Arc. They think 10 furlongs is better for him than the mile and a half.
Because marketing him as a stallion, correct. That was their thinking when they went to, was it the Juddmonte International? They said, we're not going to go and go too stout these horses. We can't get them as stallions.
But he won the Derby. So
he won the 2 Derbies. So he knows he goes that trip. But they want to show that this is what I believe, he has more speed. But James, the horse who won the King George, Gosden's horse who got beaten the Yorkshire Oaks, by Tapestry, that's been earmarked to go there as well. So it's they firmly believe that it'll come from Ireland or England as opposed to
talk about Tapestry. Rich Tapestry, the Hong Kong horse that now is going for the Breeders' Cup, has been banned from using Lasix in America in the Breeders' Cup in its 2 races at Santa Anita. It's having 2 races. The Hong Kong Jockey Club have said you're not allowed to use Lasix on a horse that races.
Is it their call?
It's their call. Well, they've made it their call. They said to Michael Chang, the trainer, if you want to go to the Breeders' Cup, you're not allowed to use Lasix. Now,
has it ever run on Lasix?
No, it's banned in Hong Kong.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he was going to go there and just go with the local opinion.
Well, everyone goes, the whole of Europe goes there and uses Lasix because you're allowed to use it there. And in my opinion, it doesn't actually harm a horse at all. But
so James, they're not allowing it to...
Well, you'll see where it will run.
Yeah.
I'll put pounds to pennies that it doesn't run.
Do you remember the last controversy was the last leg of the Triple Crown where they said to Art Sherman, are you going to have that nasal strip? He said, I'm having it, and they changed the rule. So James, this horse is going still.
Yeah, he's going. He's going to have a lead-up run, and he's going to run in the Breeders' Cup. He's a very good horse in Hong Kong, but without Lasix, I think that you've got no chance.
Have you spoken to I know you've spoken to Herbert Mulholland, Jean Malherbe, about different things, but have you found out, have they got any plans to take any of the Michael de Kock horses to Breeders' Cup?
I don't know what's going on with them at the moment. You know, Michael's been travelling a lot, and I'm not sure that he's not in Hong Kong at the moment trying to put together the syndicate. Excuse me, but just talking about America and breeders and whatever, because we're going to go on to breeders here. Ken and Sarah Ramsey won the Owners and the Breeders of the Year award in the awards in America. Kitten's Joy has made them. You know, they bred it themselves. They put it through the ring for 95,000, not served, didn't get its reserve. They were offered 99. They were offered 95 by the guy in a telephone call by a guy after the sale who went to 95. They said, no, we want 99,000. For the $4,000, they've created a dynasty with this horse, and you were reading about his statistics.
Unbelievable. Since he's had horses running Kitten's Joy, every year he's a Breeders' Cup runner. Had 3 on August 2013, I think 13th of August 2013, had 3 Group 1 winners on the day. This Kitten's Joy, and they've also got Roses in May, or do they sell that?
Well, what happened was they had the 2 horses at the same time. Roses in May, you'll all remember, ran in the Dubai World Cup and won it very easily from the front. Dale Romans, I think he trained it as well, and he trained Kitten's Joy. And they were offered, the Japanese wanted to buy Kitten's Joy, and they ended up selling them Roses in May, because they needed to sell one horse to fund making the other stallion. So they went and bought a whole lot of broodmares with the money they got from the sale of Roses in May. And
the champion breeder and champion owner.
I think it's absolutely amazing.
So it's Kitten's Joy. If you can get your hands on one,
They're very good. I think they're very good horses. And it's interesting, he's by El Prado.
That's right.
I think the
He's
sire
a
of
Saddler's
Tappet.
Wells. He's a Saddler's
sire
Wells horse. Yeah.
Of
Good
Tappet as well.
Is
El
that right?
Prado, I think.
Yeah. So there it goes.
Just coming out of that,
Yes.
they have an award in America which I reckon we should have here. It's
Yes.
called the Small Breeder of the Year.
Good idea.
Now, you know, these little guys can never go with the big guys, and you know, maybe we should make Brad Van Ree.
Van Riet.
Yeah, maybe he should be the Small Breeder of the Year.
That's right. There's a few small
But
breeders.
he's not small. He's not small enough.
In stature.
Yeah.
Do you know, James?
We'll make Skulky for the Volk.
Yeah, Skulky, the great scrum off. James, it should be a situation where how many mares or how many...
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it
Some
is. According
criteria.
to the Jockey Club records, how you run under 30 mares or whatever. You know,
It's a good idea, James.
I think it's a great
idea.
Okay.
Yeah, they could do it in a lot of departments, not just breeding.
Talking about sales, Patinack have their big dispersal.
Yeah, what's happening, I don't know if people know over the years, I think Andrew Tinkler, his name is, the Walrus, came in as a massive player, really came into Australia and bought, and he started off with Bart Cummings' son, and he was really massive in the game. Now, he's gone belly up, so to speak, and he's having a real huge dispersal sales at the end of the month in Magic Millions. And James, on that, they've got 5 stallions for sale, 500 horses, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, weanlings. I know the Laissez-Faire's families there, Sun Classique, of the South African interest. And I know there's a few South Africans are thinking of going out there, and I actually wrote down the stats here. There's on day one, there's a whole lot of fillies and mares, 76 are stakes horses and 12 are Group 1 winners. It's a really, really big sale. And this is Patinack. 571 horses sold. On the 28th of September it starts, going right down to stallions and everything. So for those of you interested, it could be a good sale if you're going to buy something out of the top drawer.
Well, if anyone wants to go, they contact you.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
James, just saying, you know, did you buy one by Lope de Vega?
No, I bought one by he's
that other stallion, the freshman.
Looking at Lucky.
Looking at
Lucky.
Lucky.
He just had his first Group 3 winner in America this year.
That's right, because Lope de Vega is one of the stallions up for sale. You know, with Mutajil, Michael de Costa got a very good Mutajil. Anyway,
we like the Loop de Vegas. Funnily enough, you and I looked at a few of them that we really liked. They were very nice horses. Yeah,
and last thing to touch on from my side, James, is just the Haydock Sprint G-Force one. And the point I'm bringing them up, it's a first for the trainer, Daniel Tuddup, the jockey, and John O'Meara, I think his name is. David O'Meara, sorry. They both had their first Group 1 winner, but the horse cost $25,000.
Just shows you. You can buy them for any price. And this comes up regularly on this show, that you can buy a horse for any price you like. And, you know, the big news, which
like Augustina,
concerns us, is this new ready-to-run new sale in Johannesburg. And
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, obviously we've been talking to people, and it's been news that's come out in the last week about within hours of each other. I was reading on the Sporting Post. Within hours of each other, press releases were made with CTS and with Bloodstock South Africa. And what's going on, James? I'm not 100% sure myself.
It looks like Mickey Goss at Summerhill wanted some conditions imposed on the ready-to-run sale. It was his brainchild. Yes. But the one that I cannot agree with, and I'll say it absolutely straight out, is that you can have a buy-in. A ready-to-run sale, you pay your fee premium, when you buy one of those horses off that ready-to-run sale, and that sale is close to those 250 horses. You cannot have a buy-in.
Yeah, sure.
What would be and I'll just give you an example, okay? You buy horse X, he's going to be favourite for the ready-to-run sale. Rich guy buys horse Y at the National Yearling Sales, the TBA National Yearling Sales, supplements it for 500,000. He's going to beat you in a R4 million race that you actually bought your horse specifically off that sale for, and were clever enough to buy. I think it's that is ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. There's a big prize money up for horses that are bought off that sale. I think it's a terrible shame that.
We shouldn't be sponsoring organised. I agree with you. Shouldn't be. And it looks as if, looking at the press release, that CTS are moving up to have 2 sales.
Apparently they want to have a sale at the National Yearling Sales time in Johannesburg too. Now that brings me to one point when CTS was formed, and I think that TBA ran the first CTS sale. They said, we have no business selling horses in Johannesburg. Johannesburg's not our market. We will run our sales in Cape Town, and that's where we are going to target the market. And they've done very well, and we support both sales.
Yes,
and most people support both sales. But this just does look like there might be a little bit.
Is this a bit of a watch the
bad
space,
undertone.
James?
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Susan Rowlett from the TBA will, I'm sure.
I wonder if we could
she's
ask
a clever
her to come
enough
in.
girl. She's been,
We'd like to get on our show.
Yeah.
She's a very bright woman.
Yeah.
We get on a show.
She's Tony Calvinson's daughter.
Yes.
That's a pure racing family.
Yeah.
They're stud.
So is Mickey, a pure racing family. So is there's the people involved with CTS. There's a lot of racing people. It'd be interesting to try and get a few of them on here.
It's very interesting as to what the implications of this are, and I don't believe the implications are good.
Yes.
For the buyer or for the seller.
For the buyer as well.
I don't think they're good for the buyer, because you've got two sales, one on top of each other. The buyer's going to have to spread his risk. When you've got sales spread out, the buyers buy and then they get their house in order and they get ready for the next sale. When you've got sales on top of each other, it's no good for the buyer.
It dilutes it too much.
Absolutely. And,
good point.
And
the seller's going to have the same story, the same impact.
Let's see. The seller's definitely going to be impacted. And the TBA is, remember the Thoroughbred Breeders Association is owned by the breeders.
Yes.
It's their association. They own that sales complex. They've got to run that sales complex. They don't go and hire a facility. They run that sales complex throughout the year to sell horses there. And who knows, sanity might prevail.
Absolutely. Let's leave it at that. James, I think that wraps up current affairs, doesn't it?
Except for the final message to Justin Snaith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
not too much practicing, boy. It will affect your training.
There's all. Thank goodness, you've got a good team in hand. But have a wonderful honeymoon and keep it tidy.
Yeah, and that's why we had ready to go right now as our plumber of the week. The
because
plumber
you're ready to go right now.
ready to go right now. If you didn't get that, we had to explain it. We're going to go and have a look at what we've got in our emails, and there's some fun ones there. Well, we got a lot of emails, and Lef, you've got quite an interesting one to start.
Yeah, I've got from Vinesh, and it's from Vinesh Ranjith. I've been a punter for the last 30 years, and for the last 5 years, my bet has been the jackpot. He invests roughly $3,000 a time. He takes his percentage, sometimes up to 80% of it, and he likes to do it on the weekends when he's watching Telestrack, and he looks to find where the centre is that has the biggest field, and invariably it seems to fall upon Fairview being, and that is the case. Fairview are getting the biggest fields, and he just thinks that there's a lot of small fields today when it comes to jackpot. James, have you found that?
Well, the Yanks, who are big on field size and handle, as they call it, turnover in races, say that the bigger the field, the better the turnover for every type of bet.
Yeah.
And I think that stands true. And what he says is that the small fields, he doesn't want to spend as much money when there's small fields in the jackpot as when they're big fields. Very interesting point. And this is going to be a feature of everyone's discussion over the years to come, how to make the fields full.
Yeah,
and I think we've got it right in KwaZulu-Natal. We need there's a few handicapping issues that really need to be looked at, because they're putting on races that maybe shouldn't be put on at this time of the year. These plate
But,
races and that, the 5 or 6
Jay Harilal, who does all that, has
Yeah.
got an open door policy. I went and saw him the other day about it. He lays everything out on the table, and any person out there can contact Jay if you feel that you're missing out on a race, or they've omitted to include one that covers one of your horses.
Right,
All right, James.
I'm going to move on to Roy Peaty. Now, he gave us a very long letter, which is a very good letter indeed. You know what I think about Aussie breds winning our stake races, but I'm sure Aussies will disagree. The Aussie breds are not super horses, and it does take a trainer's skill to win with them. So congrats, Laff, he says. So he says it took you a lot of skill to win with an Aussie horse.
That's it.
So South African racing has seen the end of an era with the closing of Clearwood. As far as breeding is concerned, we're coming to the end of an era dominated by the name Jetmaster. And in the words Jet and Master, how many times over the last 10 years have we heard commentators, tipsters, interviewers saying the favourite winner is a son and daughter of Jetmaster? And with all the high-priced imported stallions that were stud at the same time, he must be classed as a great stallion, which I think is correct.
No doubt.
Of course, this raises the question, how well would he have done if he had stood in an overseas stud if he'd got his fair share of good mares? Well, as top stallion is a top stallion,
Yeah,
and
anyway
he's produced horses that win all over the world.
His progeny won.
You know, JJ the Jet Plane is a classic example. One thing that amuses me is a total waste of time in the discussion, not only in connection with racehorses, but sport in general, is who's the best or greatest ever. Obviously, this depends on patriotism and age. To the Americans, the greatest horse of all time was Secretariat. To Aussies, depending on age, it would be Farlap, Kingston Town, or Black Caviar. With the Brits, Frankel would rate high. Amongst the older generation, you might hear Nijinsky named. What about the best SA racehorse? Here again, today, Horse Chestnut will come up with the present generation, but a horse that can win the July, albeit in a dead heat after being shot, must have been something special. And one thing, if you did not know, you had a weak heart, was to back Sea Cottage. To watch him loping along behind the field, looking as if he had no interest in the race, and then come into the straight and make the rest of the field look like they were fast asleep, was something very special. Talking about eras, the breeding industry could be seeing the start of a new era of great South African bred stallions, namely Dynasty. Will he equal Jetmaster's record? Only time will tell. I don't know if you've seen the following, which gave a long letter about something about horses. After creating heavens and earth, birds of the air, the fishes of the sea, God found it good to bestow on man a supreme mark in his favor, created the horse. And this is a very famous comment. Could there be a finer sight than that of a horse at full gallop or a stallion up on his hind legs pawing the air? There's something that might compete. That is a giant steam locomotive at full speed. He's obviously a locomotive nut, this Roy.
He's a
Peaty.
locomotive nut, yeah.
Well, thanks, Roy.
That's interesting. When you compare horses from different epochs, you find I think it's a thankless task as well. So good point. All right, next one I've got is from Hugh Crawford. And this, I really enjoyed reading this. This to me was interesting, and James, when you saw it, you agreed with me. Basically, the gist of this, we showed a video a very good video of Andrew Bonds talking about the day at Clearwood many, many years ago, and it was the riot on the racetrack. He was there.
Yeah,
He was there. And James, some of his points here are fantastic. And he said the whole situation was handled poorly. Just to put it in a nutshell for you, what happened was the people started getting on the course after the 8th, and they were demanding the rerun of the 8th race, and they said, no, we can't. The horses for the 9th are already in the paddock, and the stewards said, no, they can't. They said, we won't let them go down to the start until you clear the track. They announced clear the track. They let them go to the start without clearing the track. Then they got them down to the start and said, we're not going to run this race until you clear the track. Then they ran the race before the track was cleared. He said it was really poor. This can never happen again, James. It's a very good article.
Well, what is interesting, he said this was a big mistake because the runners approached the final 200 meters. They were met by a hail of bricks, pieces of concrete, wooden fence pickets, and other objects. It was quite horrifying. It looked like a battlefield with one horse was killed and others injured along them with many jockeys, including Basil Lewis, who he remembers seeing with a large sliver of wood lodged under his skin just above his eye. He said, I don't remember the final outcome of the investigation was held, but I think the stewards should never have let the final race be run. He finishes off. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, but by coincidence, my cousin, not Barry Hilton, this is John Jacobs, rode in that 8th race and finished either 3rd or 4th, I think. John is perhaps best known for giving Michael Roberts his first winner of his distinguished career on Smirnoff Smyrna, at Scottsville in 1968. Hugh, it's a wonderful letter. I really enjoyed reading that.
John Jacobs trained a wonderful sprinter in Joburg called Grimalkin.
That's right.
Yeah, he was a very, very good trainer. And I remember the one day at Newmarket, I was a lightie on a Sunday morning working my horses. And this guy had this horse, Grimalkin, ringing round and round and round. He was waiting for Marty Skuman to come and ride.
To get out of bed?
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
What chance did he have?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it was Marty Skuman or Gerald Turner. They didn't arrive, so he jumped on the horse and cantered the horse back. Well, the horse was a big, strong chestnut. And he pulled his arms out. And he came to the end of the thing. And when he got off the horse, he just collapsed. I thought he had a heart attack.
The legs were gone. The legs were gone.
But he's a good jockey as well.
Very
John,
good letter there.
Nice,
Hugh
very
Crawford.
Nice chap, John. Yeah. Very nice show.
All right, James, you got one from Rhys
Right,
Govender.
Rhys Govender. Hi, Uncle James and Uncle Paul. Well, we've got a couple of uncles in the horse business.
Yeah.
I've written to you a few times and once about the same topic. How is it possible that jocks come out to give interviews, especially at Scottsville, yet top jock Anton Marcus does not? I noticed that unless he's used to horse, he either excuses himself or does not just come back for an interview. I'd like to say to Mr. Marcus, with all due respect, that you get the choice of horses because you're good, but it's the public that makes you great. Thanks, you guys. Look forward to
Very good letter. You know, a lot of times Arthur says to me, listen, I'm not feeling too good. Here are my selections or here are my thoughts on the next few runners. And I think this is a guy, if you're going to come out there, respect the public and say a few words.
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Yeah.
The jockeys, the other jockeys, that come out every single time religiously, and the public love to hear that, even if the presenter asks them a lot of rubbish.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. Here's one here. We're going to have to ask Lionel Gruen again because we've got this, and unfortunately we haven't got the meat of the argument or his gripe. He said he's received neither acknowledgement or any response from his email, and he's said that twice. And he sent it to James, any response from my email. The issues are not easy to deal with. Lionel, send them through to us. I've got no attachment. James has got no attachment. James, do you know what they're about?
No, I have no idea.
So Lionel, if you're listening, we will definitely air your grievance. Just send it, submit the gripe again.
Yeah, we've got George Barnes. Now, obviously, George Barnes has sent this to presenter Tomalele. He's obviously had no joy with them. James G at well, that's our show.
Yeah.
Joey at Good Hope Racing. He never got a response from Joey, obviously. Mike de Kock at Equine and Sean Terry at MWeb. They all got this coverage. And he's very unhappy with various commentators,
But
various people.
He's never happy, George Barnes.
No, George's never happy. I'd like to know maybe we should give him
What
a
part of the
chill
country
pill.
does he race from?
I don't know George. In fact, I do know George, but he's an unhappy fellow. And he was mad that they were racing at Group 1 racing at Ascot and Teletrack was showing races from York. Yeah. But they have an agreement with GBI, UK race courses as to GBI where they can show. So George, take a chill pill, but you know.
Okay. All right, here is one from, it looks like Mark Ravji. Mark's just as it, he loves the show, but he said when they're doing the blitz afterwards, he likes watching the blitz, but he said the presenters are still talking while they're showing the replay of the race, and then they sort of drift into can't we have the presenters talk and then show us the race and we can watch the race from the 600 or wherever? He says that's what his gripe is. James, you know what he means?
I think that, it's probably the way the presenters have been told to do it.
That's exactly how we've been told to do it. Exactly.
But,
talk about it, highlight the horses,
yeah.
and then let the commentator take it in. That's the reason we highlight the horses that run first and second normally. So that's the replay bits. But thanks anyway, Mark. Interesting point.
Yeah, okay, Roy Petey. The final
your
one
man
from
again.
He says here that I stand to be corrected. South African horses are banned from entering Australia. Well, they're not banned, are they?
No, it's a long protocol.
Yeah, and this is the gist of his letter: is that we can't race our horses there.
No two-way street.
Take them over. And thinking of Pocket Power, I'm sure a lot of racegoers are unaware of the untold or unknown stories that exist in the history of racing. My interest in racing is mainly to do with breeding and pedigree, tracing all racehorses back to the 3 foundation stallions, obviously the 4 foundation stallions, I think there were. Recently I downloaded a story of Northern Dancer.
James, just stopping you there. You know a little bit more about the Northern Dancer story. I remember watching something about it. But what he comments here, is that right, that nobody wanted him?
I don't think that was right at all. In fact, I think that they bought him off the farm. They wanted him so badly they bought him off the farm.
I know that the Jinsky...
E.P. Taylor.
Yeah, he went in Canada, E.P. Taylor's farm. He went over there to have a look at a Rebo colt or something and saw the Northern Dance horse called a Jinsky. That's our old man Brian bought. That was his son, but I don't know the story of Northern Dancer.
But he was a little horse, Northern Dancer. And it's quite interesting the way he goes on about pedigrees and, you know, if they should, whether you geld a horse or not, whether it makes a difference. Well, Pocket Pie is a typical example. You know, everyone says, you know, gelded Pocket Pie. Imagine what stallion we made. Well, you chat to Bass about him. He was so heavy in front. He wouldn't have won a race. He had terrible bad feet.
The case in question, James, would be National Emblem and Teal. Teal had his number by a neck over 3 major races, and one was a gelding, one wasn't. And Teal retired from racing, and along National Emmons earned millions. You know, that, I suppose Teal was a little horse.
It's you know, it's pure conjecture, but normally people only geld horses if they need gelding. And when you think of it, that basically we're breeding with a lot of middle of the road stallions and mares. The majority of horses from the middle down need to be gelded because they're like those mongrels that run around in the street. You know, they've got no
Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert.
Like Gilbert, my latest mongrel, Gilbert.
Right, that's the story. That's what we have, and we've had a very good show, and we hope that you've enjoyed it, and have a wonderful week's racing from Paul and me. Enjoy the rest of it, and we'll be back next week.